Hey yarn friends, welcome back to LlamaMamaKayla's Yarn Tube. Thanks for stopping by today to see what I'm working on. Today I made these cute little treat bags. I made this one for just orange for fall, and you could take felt and make triangle eyes and a nose and a mouth and turn it into a pumpkin one. And this one I used the orange and yellow and white to make it look like a candy corn candy. And then I used ribbon that I got at Michael's when it was on sale for like 99 cents a roll. Lots of times they do have some that's already solid color ribbon that is like 79 cents or maybe even 50 cents. I'm not sure of the price, but they run it on sale all the time. But if you don't want to use ribbon, you can also make a small I-cord to tie yours with, or you can chain yarn with a crochet hook and use that as your tie. So you don't have to have ribbon. You can use yarn, make a chain or an I-cord. And these are great little bags to put treats in, maybe a treat to send to a teacher or someone, you know, that's special to you, your neighbor or whoever. And then sometimes I will have one of these bags and I will put a bar of soap in it, some good smelling soap, and then I'll just throw this in my project bag, and my project and my yarn smell really good. So thanks for tuning in, and let's get busy and make treat bags today. Okay, so to make this project, I'll be using my 24 peg loom, my loom pick, clippers or scissors to cut your yarn with, a tapestry needle for weaving in ends, and I'm using Red Heart Super Saver white, actually a soft white, which looks white unless you put it next to a true white. And then I'm using Craft Smart bright orange, and then I'm using Super Saver bright yellow. So that's the three colors I'm using today, and I am using 2 strands of yarn held as one. So what I'm going to do is just make a slip knot, and I'm going to leave just enough tail that I can weave it in. I don't like just leaving a tiny bit of tail because it's not enough to weave in. I like to actually be able to weave it in. So I'm just going to make this slip knot, however you make a slip knot. My way has changed over the years as I've lost fingers. So just secure that on your first peg. Now it doesn't matter if you go this direction or that direction, whatever's comfortable for you. I go this direction. So what I'm going to do is just E-wrap all the way around. Just going to E-wrap every peg. I gotta pull some yarn out. It's kind of getting tight on me there. And so I'm doing an E-wrap cast on. So we're just going to keep going all the way around a second time. Okay, and now we are back to where we started. So I'm just going to hold this working yarn down, and I'm just going to yarn over on that last peg to secure my yarn, and just go around and bring the bottom loop up over the top loop and over the peg. So normally, this is the cast on, a E-wrapped cast on, but for this project, I am counting this as row 1, and I'm going to E-wrap each row. Now, that will mean that the top row will curl, but that's okay for this project. I think it gives it a little more cuteness to this project. Most projects you don't want to curl, but some projects the cuteness benefits, and I think this is one project where it will benefit and add to the cuteness of it. So I'm going to just E-wrap all my rows from the top to the bottom. So on this, we are going to E-wrap 4 more rows, so that will be 5 rows in total of the white. So go ahead and just push your loops down, E-wrap around, and yarn over, and I will meet you back when I have finished my 5 rows. Okay, I finished my 5 rows of white, and I believe that's all I want to do for the white. So I'm going to snip my yarn, and I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail, enough that I can tie with. I might leave a little extra long than most people do, but I actually need some to be able to grab and tie with. So I'm going to take my yarn that I just snipped and lay it over to this side and lay my new yarn color down. No, that's not what I'm going to do. I lay this down first, and then my yarn I snipped over it, and then I'm just going to take this yarn and tie around it. Okay, and then I push that down all the way down to the peg. Push that knot all the way down to the peg, and then I'm going to tug this again, and I'm going to tie both of these tails together, and I'm going to do that like 2 times. So I have 3 knots in here, so I feel like that's pretty secure. And for this project, I'm just going to snip off these ends there. Alright, and so we just push our white loops down, and now we're just going to pick up. We're on this last peg, we tied into that last peg, and we're just going to pick up and carry on with our orange color. So just go around and E-wrap all the way around. Alright, then hold your yarn in place, and then just start taking your loops over. Alright, so with the orange, I'm going to do about 8 rows. The thing about this project, you can do as many rows or as less rows as you want. There's no right way, you're right or wrong way. You're doing it for the size of the size you want your project to be. But I'm going to do about 8 rows of this orange. So that's my first row, and I will be back very quickly. Okay, I have finished with my orange color, and I did end up doing 10 rows of orange. I wasn't paying attention and just kept going, but I think it needed to be longer anyway, so that's fine. Like I said, there's no way to mess this up. You can do as many rows as you want. So I'm going to snip off my orange, and now I'm going to add my yellow. I'm going to lay that in. Just tie my yellow on. And push that knot all the way down to the peg, and then tug this to make sure that is tight. All right, now I'm going to snip my yarn. And now E-wrap with my yellow. So same thing we've been doing, just E-wrap all the way around. And I'm going to do 6 rows of yellow. So I will meet you back when I have finished the 6 rows of yellow. Okay guys, I am on the last row, number 6 for my yellow yarn. And I thought I would share this with you. As I'm working on this project, Elijah's dog, Rose, is laying on the couch. And she's already went out to potty before I started filming this. And she just keeps coming over here and like getting up on my leg and whining and crying. And I'm just like, what is wrong with her? There's food in there. There's water in there. I didn't know why she just kept coming and doing that. And finally, I figured out. Every time I say row, like do 5 rows of white, or, you know, I did 10 rows of orange, she thinks I'm calling her Rose. So, silly dog. I never thought about that before. Alright, so what we're going to do is take our working yarn, still double-stranded, and just go all the way around your loom. That's 1 time, 2 times, and a half. And yes, it is going to take this much yarn. So make sure you go 2 1/2. Alright. Now we're going to do a flat bind off, so our bottom doesn't shrink up. So I'm going to thread. No, I'm not. Okay, for this bind off, I'm just going to take my working yarn and I'm going to lay it over my first peg there. And on the second peg, let me get my hook right. On my second peg, I'm going to pull the yarn up through there. And I've got both strands. I just pull it all the way through. Then I go back across the first peg up above the yarn this time, and I'm just going to reach up there and pull that yarn down through the bottom. Okay, pull that through. Okay, lay it across the second peg. Now we're working on the third peg first. Reach down and bring it up on that side. And then we go back to the peg before and go up and bring it down on that side. So across, up, down, across, up, down. So we're just going to do that all the way around, all the pegs. I hope you enjoyed making this little treat bag, and I hope that you know, you can just run wild with it and create all kinds of little gift bags, treat bags. Use your imagination and just create all sorts of little bags for different holidays or occasions. At Michael's, you can buy all kinds of cute ribbons. So if you was to have something for a baby gift, they have ribbon that says it's a boy or it's a girl. They just have all types of different ribbon. So you can make little bags and use your ribbon to make it holiday theme or occasion theme, or you can just use, use different colors to make your bag fit your need. And I would love to see your bags. If you make some, hop on over to LlamaMamaKayla's Facebook group and share your creations. And I've got to get that yarn through there. Sometimes that does happen. Okay, I feel like I have a mess with my yarn. It's all tangled up there. So I've done this before, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to snip this. And I'm going to add in some more yellow yarn. Trying to make sure I am getting enough. Maybe getting too much. Okay, so I'm going to go back the peg before my yarn is at. And I'm just going to tie this in. And this is one that I came down on. So I'm going up on the next one. I mean, my next one I'll be going across and then up. But anyway, I want to tie this in right here. Same thing as we have tied yarn in before. Trying to get that knot all the way down to the peg. And I could have turned the camera off, but I just wanted y'all to see that if this happens to y'all, then this is how you take care of that problem. And I am tying this a bunch of times because I do want it to be secure. Okay, and I'm going to tie it one time to this yarn. Okay, and then I'm going to clip off my yarn ends. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I came down out of that one. So on this one we're going to go across. I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to back up and come down from this one again. Just pulling that yarn down from there. That won't mess it up at all. Okay, so now we have our yarn ready to go again. I'm going to go across, and then on this one I'm going to go up. Back over the one before it, and we're going to go down. Okay, across it. And going up. Down. About halfway done. Yeah, halfway. This bind off does take longer, but it won't bunch your fabric up. It'll leave it the same width. Like this bind off is great for like if you're making a baby blanket or dishcloth, dish towel, hand towels. If you want your top row to be the same width as your bottom row, this is the bind off to use. It just takes longer, but it looks so much better. You shouldn't have much yarn left over. Definitely not enough to sew the bottom up. And so we're going to add a single strand of yarn in to sew the bottom. Okay, and I'm going to show you what I do right here when I get to the end. Okay, well, I'm doing the last peg now. So I pull up, come over and pull down, and then I'm going to skip over the last peg and come to the first peg and just do the same thing again. And pull down, and then just for good measure, I go back up in that peg. And that is all. So now we can pop all our loops off the loom. Okay, so now we have our little candy corn bag. You can stretch out your stitches and decide how you like that. And I'm going to put my slip knot. I'm going to make that the back area of my bag, so I'm going to flatten it that way. So that is my back, and this will be the front. Alright, so we do not have enough yarn here to sew the bag up, or we shouldn't have if we went around 2.5 times. So the plan was to never use that yarn to sew it up. But we're going to take this yarn and weave in our ends. Make sure your needle's not coming through on this side. I'm going to go ahead and use that loop and secure my yarn a little bit. Make sure your needle's not showing on this side. Alright, and I've weaved in a few times, and so I'm going to snip my yarn. Okay, now get my yarn all flat back again. My fabric, this is in the center of my back, and that's what I want. So I'm going to take one strand of my yellow, and I'm going to pick a corner, and this looks like just as good as any. I'm going to go through and get the bottom stitches there, and then tie this, and I hope I have enough yarn to tie all the way across, to sew it up. Okay. Alright, so what I'm going to do is just go in the bottom stitches from both sides and just whip stitch this closed. And I'm going to, every time I do, I'm going to put my yarn through the loop. So over here, I'm just going to do the same thing. Bring my needle through the loop is what I meant to say. Alright, just keep going. Alright, I'm to the end. Now I'm just going to check it, make sure that it's all swooped up good. And I'm going to tie off right here. And then I'm going to run this tail up inside the bag. I'm going to turn my bag wrong side out for just a little bit, just a corner there. And just find some stitches where I can kind of weave that tail in or tie it off in there. Okay. I'm going to snip my yarn. Oh, I want to weave this, run this tail up into the inside too. Okay. And then we have this little section, our tails from our slip knot where we cast on. So I'm going to poke that through at the top and come on the inside, and the same thing, I'm just going to weave this in, pick up a few stitches, and I need to go through some different ones. Check and make sure your needle's not showing. Just one second. I'm trying to, my hand cramped up, so. All right. So there's our little candy corn bag. And I'm going to take some ribbon that I had got at Michael's when they had some on sale. And I'm going to cut some off. And I'm going to thread this in my needle. Okay. And then I'm just going to pick a spot right here. I'm going up about 3 rows there. You can do it wherever you want to. I'm going to do mine about right here. So I'm going to go in, and about every 2 stitches there, I'm going to go over it and under. I'm going to go over 2. Come up under 2, go over 2 and under 2. Okay, so I'm back to the beginning, and I come up under those 2. There's 2 in the middle, and I'm just going to leave those. Now I'm going to get my ribbon where they're about the same length on each side. Okay, and sometimes your ribbon might have turned on you. Just go around and straighten that if it did. Alright, so I'm going to just tie a little bow in here. You can drawstring that up. And there you go. I'm also going to take my my yarn here. My ribbon, and I'm just going to snip off the edges at an angle. So there we go, a cute little bag to put a treat in. It'd be nice for a teacher treat, or, you know, treaters for Halloween or whatever. So there we go. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this little quick tutorial, and I hope it gave you ideas that you can take and expand on yourself and make some cute little bags. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you all watching. Feel free to share this video with other loomers. And I will see you all again very soon.